Good morning on this Friday, October 1st, 2021. Let it be known it is a new month and we are in deep in the fall season, my favorite season. Negotiators failed to reach a deal to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which has led many people, particularly individuals of color, to wonder whether the Black Lives Matter movement that gained great momentum after the murder of George Floyd turned out to be just another moment instead of a real movement. We will talk shortly with America's Attorney General, America's Black Attorney General, the famed civil rights attorney, Ben Crump. And later, we're going to have a very, very special guest, all the way from Accra, Ghana, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture for Ghana. He's going to join us to talk about the heralded plans to construct a state-of-the-art museum complex honoring the legacy of world-renowned Black intellectual and civil rights pioneer W.E.B. Du Bois. But first, let's bring on the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey Brown. On behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, who's publisher of the Forward Times in Houston, Texas, and representing 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies all across the United States. And we're so pleased to have our guests from Africa. We're so pleased to have Attorney Benjamin Crump. And this is Friday, so let's get right into it.
Let's get into it. Everybody knows him well, and for good reasons. Let's bring on Attorney Benjamin Crump. Good morning, Attorney Crump.
Good morning, Mr. Brown. Good morning, Dr. Chavis. It's always good to see you, mentor.
Good morning, good brother, and appreciate you still our best, not just example, but leadership and having a freedom-fighting attorney. When Benjamin Crump and Attorney Benjamin Crump and Crump associates, all of his lawyers that he's networked now all over across the country, when they show up, you know that Black folks have a better chance of getting justice because of the fearless, courageous leadership of Attorney Benjamin Crump. So welcome again back to the Black Press.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Crump, let's get into it. I know your time is limited, and we understand and appreciate that. But let's get right into it. They failed to reach a deal in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I know it must have been crushing to the Floyd family, crushing to all of Black America. Your thoughts, your immediate thoughts?
Certainly, Stacey. I actually penned an op-ed, and it was picked up by several newspapers talking about this failure of the senators to come to a compromise, to come to an agreement that we could get meaningful police reform in the United States, something that has eluded us, Dr. Chavis, now for over 58 years. The last time we had meaningful police reform in America was during President Lyndon Baines Johnson Great Society legislation. Since then, you think of all the Black people who have been unjustly killed by the police. Ferguson comes to mind with Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot. And President Obama tried then, but none of those efforts have led to meaningful police reform. And we believed once the world was galvanized by the torturous video of George Floyd saying, "I can't breathe," 28 times, and a police officer having his knee on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, that this was finally the moment that America would take advantage of this situation to say, we're better than this, we can do better. But yet again, politics has gotten in the way of progress, and we have to call the Senate to say George Floyd blood is on that draft of that legislation, and he deserves a vote. Breonna Taylor deserves a vote. Alton Sterling, Eric Garner, Michael Brown Jr., Tamir Wright, so many names who have died over the course of those 58 years deserves a vote, so we can keep account and there can be a record of the people who stand with us and don't stand with us after we delivered the Senate to the Democrats.
Yeah, and it's a great point. Of course, Attorney Crump, and as I said at the opening, it seems like they're turning this into they're reducing it, I should say, to a moment instead of a movement. As you noted, and we heard the president from the beginning credit Black people with his victory. We know what happened in Georgia back in January. Has the Democratic Party let Black people down?
Well, I think as we heard recently, Mr. Brown and Dr. Javis, I know you noticed this in the paper where you have congressional members, Black congressional members, talking about they reject this notion that we can't talk about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and the John Lewis voter rights bill in favor of this infrastructure deal. Why should we always be pushed to the sideline when we start talking about matters of national importance? But yet, when it's election time, we're the people who deliver consistently for the Democratic Party. It's high time that we be prioritized as well. And we have to continue to make them respect Black life, Black humanity, and Black liberty, whether it's on the borders of Texas when we start talking about how they treated the Haitians, or whether you're talking about the John Lewis bill or the George Floyd bill. We have to be a priority. Don't take us for granted during the Senate session, but then try to prioritize us at election times just to get our votes to keep power.
Exactly. And again, I just want to help put this in context, Attorney Crump and Stacey, and to our listening audience. The reason why lynching took place was to put fear and devastation in our community, to keep us from doing what we needed to do, to keep us from voting, to keep us from demanding access to public accommodations, transportation, actually to keep us from even demanding that we be treated like human beings. What just happened in the Senate, Attorney Crump, amounts to a lynching of Black America. And the rope of the knot of the lynch wasn't tied by the Democrats, it was tied by the Republicans. And I think what this means is that in 2022, we need to vote these Republicans out of office. We need to vote these governors out of office. We need to vote these people who continue to block access to the George Floyd Act. Senator Scott, the Republican, Black Republican Democrat, Black Republican senator from South Carolina, he could not get one Republican to change, to support the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. So I think that we need to make sure now, my concern is, Attorney Crump, that Black folks will get disappointed and then we will stay away from the polls. We got to do the opposite. The way we stopped lynching is that we kept protesting. We kept demanding. We stopped being afraid of the people in the white robes or the people in the Black robes, the people with hoods and the people who wear blue uniforms. We can't let fear set in because of what the Senate just did. If anything, we have to take this failure of the Congress, who failed was both Republicans and Democrats. And we got to do more, not less. As we're getting ready to go into 2022, yes, with 2020 we did the right thing by putting those two new senators in, one African American, one Jewish American, into the Senate. But that's not enough. It's just 50-50. And then we need to say to Senator Manchin, we need to send it to Senator Sinema from Arizona, Manchin from West Virginia. You helped, you participated in the lynching of Black America. And this is still going on. So we need to put this in the right context. We need to be fierce. We need to be fearless. And we need to call them out. I agree, Attorney Crump. This is no time for us to be silent. We got to call things the way they are. This is white supremacy going off the rails.
Well, with that thought too, Dr. Chavis, a question from Dr. Raymond Wimbush, who's watching, and I thank you for the question. Attorney Crump, he says, what is the role of police unions in maintaining the culture of white supremacy among police departments? What can the average citizen do to break their chokehold on police departments?
Well, it's exactly what Dr. Chavis was saying, Mr. Brown. We have to get out and vote, because especially on the municipal level, on the local level with the cities, negotiating with the unions. That's what it is, a negotiation. And if the elected officials won't negotiate in our best interest, then we have to vote them out of office. I mean, the unions are very powerful because they seem to have a stronghold over the electorate, which says if you don't support us at election time, then we're going to come after you. Well, we should be our own union in Black America and say, well, if you don't support our cause, which is our children, and making sure that they're not killed by police by being shot in the back or choked to death or busted in their house at 1 o'clock in the morning, then we're going to come after you as well. And so that has to be the consistent message, that we have to engage our people, we have to educate our people, and we have to empower our people. And that's why I love the National Newspaper Association so much, because nobody gets the word out to our community like our Black newspapers. And we have to harness that power because we all have a role to play in this struggle, as Dr. King said. And I am optimistic that Black people, especially the young Black people, are in tune. And we just got to challenge their frustration right now, because not only are the families very disappointed, right, Dr. Chavis, it is everybody who sacrificed their health and their life during a global pandemic to go out there and vote for change. And so we want this change.
And the Black Lives Matter movement did something that had not been done before. This was truly a multiracial, multicultural, multilingual movement. And it was an international movement. We had people all over the world, Attorney Crump, holding up signs, Black Lives Matter, and demanding justice. And so this is an international embarrassment for the United States. It's just not a domestic situation. The whole world is watching America, how America treats Black people, how America treats Latino people, how America treats Asian people, how America treats Native American people, how America treats its own children, how we treat people. We have more people incarcerated in America than any other nation in the world. So something is wrong. But we have to have the antidote to this poison. And I think that building a movement, we need to be fired up, stay fired up. We go back to the front. We need to embrace those mothers. I still see Miss Carr there, the mother of Eric Garner, still on the front line.
Yes.
And Sister
Trayvon's
mother down in Florida, still out there on the front line. And I could just go down the whole list of all the mothers and fathers still out there on the front line. So you're right, Attorney Crump. The Black press will stay out there, putting truth out there, but your voice is so important. As we now, people think that we're going to walk away from this issue. We're not. Even though the Senate failed to do what it's supposed to do, that doesn't mean that the movement fails. We have to redouble our efforts and remobilize. We're going to have to go back to the streets. I know some people, Attorney Crump, say, well, we're tired of marching. We're doing, yeah. You can't be, Freddie Douglass had it right. Freedom is a constant struggle. If you stop struggling for freedom, you're going to lose your freedom. If you stop struggling for justice, equality, you're going to lose those things.
Yeah, and we appreciate, Attorney Crump, you we know you haven't sought fame, but you are one of the most famous people on the planet. And so with that, having said that, my point of saying it is that we appreciate that you always come home to the Black press. And I know you got to run. Thank you so much for continuing to keep in contact with the Black press of America. Thanks so much, Attorney Crump.
Now, thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Dr. Chavis. And just note, on Monday, October 4th, Dr. Chavis, I will be in Baltimore, Maryland, with the family of Henrietta Lacks, suing over the unjust enrichment of all these multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies that 70 years ago from that day on Monday illegally took her cells that were the first cells to be able to generate outside the body, known as the HeLa cells, used for every cure, even up to COVID-19 vaccination medicines. And the family never got a penny. And so we're going to bring a lawsuit at 10:30 there in Baltimore at the federal courthouse saying that this sister was betrayed by the doctors 70 years ago, and she's still being betrayed by the pharmaceutical industry by illegally profiting off of her cells, her genetic DNA. And I know the Black press will be there with us.
Absolutely. We'll be there front and center.
Thanks again, Attorney Crump. We really appreciate you. And now let us bring on, for all the way from Ghana, Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, the Minister for Tourism, Arts, and Culture. And also, he brings along a special guest with him, the CEO of Ghana's Tourism Authority, Mr. Akwasi Agiman. Good morning.
Good morning.
How
Good
are
morning,
you,
Minister Wall.
Good morning.
Well, thanks for joining
Very
us.
fine. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Minister. Tell us about this fantastic W.E.B. Du Bois Center. What's going on there? In a moment, we're going to show a presentation given in New York by the president of Ghana, but just give our audience an overview of what's going on.
Thank you, and good morning to you all.
Good morning.
The Du Bois Center in Accra was built very long time ago in memory of Du Bois, W. Du Bois, for his Pan-African activities in Africa. Our president, President Akufo-Addo, is a Pan-Africanist, and he wants to honor Du Bois and make the center the real center of Pan-Africanism on the African continent. For us in Ghana, the rehabilitation of Du Bois Center is part of a bigger scheme, a grand design to make Ghana the Mecca of Pan-Africanism and to attract Pan-Africanists all around the world to visit Ghana. We also have the Padmore Library in Ghana and the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Ghana was the first country, Black Africa, to attain independence. And since Ghana has led the charge in making Pan-Africanism real and concrete. So the rehabilitation of the Du Bois Center, a $50 million project over 50 years and beyond, is part of a grand design to reposition Ghana as a center of Pan-Africanism and to attract visitors around the world to link with their roots. After 400 years of slavery, it's only proper that we allow African Americans to reconnect to their roots. There's no other better place to go than to make it in Ghana. So it's part of a grand design by our president to make Ghana the center and mecca of Pan-Africanism in the world.
Yeah, and
that's why we are rehabilitating
it. And Minister, tell us who's behind the construction, who's doing the work. Is people really want to know? Is it for us, by us? Is it Africans who are doing the work?
Thank you. There's a business incorporated in Ghana, the Du Bois Foundation USA and Du Bois Foundation Ghana. So in 2019, President Akufo-Addo had a meeting with the Du Bois Foundation of US in New York. And the idea came up that after over 50 years of that project, the project is old, it needs rehabilitation, needs to be refurbished and make it really a Pan-African museum in Accra. So the foundation approached the president and he said, why not? We have been looking for a way to make sure that the museum represents what it is, a proper Pan-African center. After 400 years of slavery, it's good to rehabilitate and make it memorable. So it's a joint venture between the Du Bois Foundation of Ghana and Du Bois Foundation of America. The foundation will raise $50 million, remodel, rehabilitate, and reposition the center and make it really a global center for Pan-Africanism. So it's a joint venture between Ghana and the Du Bois Foundation of America. And it's in phases. We intend to go beyond the foundation. The center would have a lot of things. A conference center, the Museum of Du Bois, which is going to be there, very big, some conference facilities, some accommodation. So that when people come, and a library, modern library, depicting the works of Du Bois. So it's a good collaboration between Ghana Du Bois Foundation and the Du Bois Foundation of America.
And another important thing too, curating. Who's telling the stories?
Who is telling the story?
Yes.
We are telling the story in Ghana. Ghana, as you rightfully aware, has always led the struggle for freedom from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's era, our first president of Ghana. And today, our president, Nana Akufo-Addo, is a true Pan-Africanist. So what we want to tell the world is that Du Bois did so well for Pan-Africanism and the African movement, an intellectual, a civil rights leader. We need to honor his memory alongside others, George Padmore, Kwame Nkrumah, Marcus Garvey. So the story we want to tell is that after 400 years of being forcibly taken away from your roots, please come back home and reconnect. You cannot know who you are until you connect to your roots. Yeah. So for us, the center, the foundation is part of a bigger scheme to trace the roots of all Pan-Africanists and African diaspora to their roots. If you know your culture and your history, that is when you can develop and make a meaningful impact on human society in the world.
And let's right now show a clip. We may run a little over, but this is such an important topic. The W.E.B. Du Bois Center and Museum in Accra. But let's show a clip of the president. He was in New York about a week ago and talked about this. Let's bring that clip up.
In Ghana, yet another important monument to the collective struggle of the African peoples to get their rightful place in this world.
An historic agreement signed in New York this week between the government of Ghana and the W.E.B. Du Bois Museum Foundation. The agreement allows the foundation to develop the small existing Du Bois Center in Accra into a world-class living museum complex and memorial, honoring one of history's most renowned Black intellectuals and activists.
Du Bois is an important figure in our history and in the history of the Black peoples of the world. And I think that this attempt to commemorate and expand his presence in our history is a good thing for all of us.
Du Bois had strong ties to Ghana and a close friendship with Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana. The two visionaries met in 1945 at the African Congress in Manchester, where African and diaspora leaders came together to address colonialism and racism in America and Europe. President Nkrumah later invited the then 93-year-old Du Bois to move to Accra with his wife, where he became a Ghanaian citizen and spent his final 2 years living and working in the bungalow that is the current Du Bois Center in Accra. That bungalow will now be refurbished as part of the museum complex.
The Du Bois' home in Accra is, as a result, an important site in the history of Africa's relationship with the transatlantic diaspora, whose shape was so profoundly determined by these two extraordinary men of action who were also intellectuals, patriots who were also internationalists.
Often called the father of modern Pan-Africanism, Du Bois was the first African American to earn a doctorate from Harvard. He was one of the founders of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, and a major force behind African unity and the struggle for African independence. The multi-million-dollar museum complex will be designed by renowned Ghanaian architect Sir David Adjei, who designed the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. The government and the foundation hope the new W.E.B. Du Bois Museum complex will become a symbol of African unity for all Africans and African diaspora throughout the world.
So, Mr. President, let me reassure you of our commitment to making your beloved Ghana a hub of Pan-African research and heritage tourism.
We are quite determined as a nation to make Ghana the mecca of tourism and Pan-Africanism in the world.
Ghana's president, Akufo-Addo, has invited African diaspora to contribute to the continent's development through the government's Year of Return and Beyond the Return campaigns. The initiatives promote economic empowerment and encourage African diaspora to return to Africa whether for a visit, to invest, or to live.
The new liberation is about economic emancipation and trade. Ghana now begins to represent the idea of the total liberation of the African race, wherever they may be.
The president and his government often note Ghana today is building an economy beyond aid.
I think the boys will be very glad. Africa beyond aid, that we need to be able to empower ourselves. Let's do things for ourselves. And this is precisely what Du Bois was preaching.
Yeah, and before I go to the CEO of tourism there, let me ask a question, Minister, that's being posed again by Dr. Wimbush. He's concerned that he says he visited the center many times and considered Du Bois the patron saint of Fisk University, where I used to teach. He says, are white people in control? He's asking, are white people in control of the Du Bois Foundation that is partnering with Ghana?
No. The idea, the whole complex is owned by Ghana and managed by Ghanaians. The Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture owns it.
Great.
Very
And
very good.
Mr. Agiman, the CEO of Ghana Tourism, what are you anticipating this will do for tourism in Accra and Ghana, the entire country?
All right, thank you very much. And like my Honorable Minister has stated, this is a legacy project for us. It started with the President's visit during the year of return. And Ghana has shown strong indication that we are the Pan-African hub. And so having the Du Bois Center upgraded to the extent that it will bring in more visitors and more pilgrimage to the country for people wanting to see what Du Bois represents and what he represented for Ghana is no mean achievement. As you rightly said, this is going to be a living museum. And so we will capitalize on the museum's attractiveness to come up with several other programs that will bring and connect Africans globally together. And so for us, this is one of the legacy projects of the year of return. Currently, we are on Beyond the Return. And some of the things that we are doing with Beyond the Return is looking at how we can clear the diaspora pathway, celebrate Pan-African innovation, and also make sure that Africa, wherever you are, you are connected. And Du Bois is that one connection because he came to Ghana, met up with our first president, lived there for the last 2 years of his life. And that legacy is a legacy worth celebrating. And that's what we are doing.
Fantastic. Claudette Perry, our executive administrator, says, thanks for being a leader in connecting the diaspora with the continent. Dr. Chambers, let me throw it to you.
Well, first, I want to thank our dear Minister Awal, and we thank all the leaders in Ghana, particularly President Adu, for this exciting initiative. And rest assured, the Black press will help cover this. This is just not one headline story. This is really going to have a transformational impact between African Americans and Africa and all of our people of African descent throughout the diaspora. I'm glad Minister Awal mentioned that this is 500 years. There's been a lot of talk in the United States about the 400-year anniversary, but actually the transatlantic slave trade started 500 years ago. And I'm glad my brother put that out. Secondly, we want to make sure that the news from Ghana, the news from Africa, the news from Black America, that we continue to work together, not only to have this event this morning, but I think this is a good initiative, and we're going to, on behalf of the Black Press of America, we're going to want to take a delegation. I was just talking to our chair yesterday, Colonel Carter Richards, about the NNPA leading a delegation to Africa, and I think there's no place better for us to start than to come to Accra, Ghana, and to help participate and celebrate this marvelous initiative of W.E.B. Du Bois recognition. W.E. Du Bois was the co-founder of the NAACP. He was a freedom fighter. He was not just an intellectual. A lot of times people think when you get a PhD, you go out somewhere and just write books. but W.E.B. Du Bois was on the front line of the struggle internationally, along with Kwame Nkrumah, along with many others in the panel, George Padmore and others in the international movement, Marcus Garvey. And certainly we also are going to salute Dr. Garvey's work around the world also in the coming months. So thank you for this initiative. You can rest assured that the Black Press of America will continue to cover this and give support to this historic transformation, honoring the life and the living legacy of W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah, and Dr. Minister Awal, we have a couple of minutes left. I want you to respond to Ms. Claudette Perry, our executive administrator of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. I like what she says. She says African Americans are concerned about who will tell the stories about Du Bois and our history. She says, I personally do not mind who's supplying the funding because the money is ours anyway, made from the backs of enslaved people. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that the most important thing is to let Africans know that they have a history, they have home, and Ghana is their home. Wherever you are in the world as an African, Pan-African, and African-American, please connect back to home. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Benjamin for wanting to use his medium to tell our story. Our story should be positive stories.
Yes.
Ghana, our President Akufo-Addo says, our forefathers had a dream. In our era, those dreams should come real. All we are doing is to make sure that our generation make sure that Africa and Ghana become real and we are the center of the world. So we'll tell our stories and we need support from Dr. Benjamin and his team. We will continue to tell our story, and our stories have hope, determination, passion, and willpower to succeed and make the Black race take the center stage in global politics and global economic transformation. That is our story we want to tell.
And Minister, our publisher down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Bobby Henry, is asking about your shirt. He loves your shirt. He wants to know where he can get one.
I will send him one. Let me know his size. I'll send him one tomorrow.
Well, there you have it, Bobby. Bobby asked for it. Bobby gets it delivered. There you go. Minister, we really appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing in Accra because, as has been well stated, it's the center of the world. It certainly is the center of the diaspora, and we really appreciate it. Dr. Chavis, your closing thoughts with the Minister of Ghana.
Well, again, a parting tribute to W.E.B. Du Bois. One of the reasons why Du Bois left the United States and went to Ghana was not only because of the hospitality and the warm welcome he received in Ghana, but it was also an indication. And W. Du Bois was trying to teach us here in America that we must see Africa as our home, as our motherland, and we must return. We must break this cycle of not understanding our roots. And I want to just salute the president of Ghana, the minister of Ghana, and all of those who are working on this project. I think this will help the transformation of our minds. Before you can transform somebody's body or somebody's physical, you first have to transform their minds. And this is what this project represents. The further evolution and transformation of the consciousness of Pan-Africanism, of the consciousness of people of African descent, working together, living together, and changing the world for a better place. Because what happens is, as Africa improves, the whole world improves. So yes, everybody should contribute to this. People of African descent, but people who are non-African descent should also contribute to make sure that this is a reality. God bless you, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you so much. We're honored. It's our pleasure.
And we appreciate you bringing on with you this morning the CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority. We lost him, but Mr. Akwasi Aguilan, we thank him as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Dr. Ibrahim, you know what? Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, right?
Yes.
Keep up the great work. And I know that.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm sorry?
He was saying thank you for having him on the program.
You got it. Our privilege. And I was going to say, Minister, I know Dr. Chavis is going to take you up on that offer for us to come and visit Ghana. So you can rest assured of that. We thank you again, and thank everyone for watching this morning. This is what the Black press does, as Dr. Chavis says. We reach the globe, and certainly Africa is the center of it all. Ghana is the center of it all. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out the NNPA on TikTok at Black Press NNPA. Check us out there, and also it's the weekend, so you know what that means. Every Sunday, watch the Chavis Chronicles on PBS TV and PBS World. Check your local listens. The Chavis Chronicles is just an extension of what you see here, but on a much bigger platform, right? And it stars Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. He hosts that great talk show. You got to check it out every Sunday. And let it be known, we're going to close with the words of W.E.B. Du Bois. Children learn more from what you are than what you teach. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated if you can. We'll see you Monday.